Good afternoon. This is a chart lesson for April 13th, 2023. I'm recording it a day late because of some things that happened yesterday that I couldn't record it yesterday. And none of the other YouTubers I see uploaded a video about yesterday, so I wanted something that I could look at this weekend. So I'm going to do this. These are days that are the most difficult for me, is these kind of uptrends that are choppy and don't give a whole lot of good setups. After going through it again, I do see about four pretty early setups, but after that it was really a whole lot of nothing. And a couple of these I don't think I would have seen in real time. So anyway, we'll get into it. So the day was an uptrend, but I don't think you would have really had this channel until about here, which is at about 9 o'clock. So that's 2.5 hours after the open. You would have known that it was an uptrend though. So in the overnight we had this strong move up, and then it sold off a little bit. And it looked like we were just going to be ranging after this news item. A lot of overlap. I thought that we would come down and test the lows, but we didn't. We just went sideways, and I don't see anything I like in here. This is too much overlap for me. Actually, I remember yesterday I had this one marked. You have a quick double test right there, and really like a quadruple test, but a lot of room back to the EMA, but you might notice that the bias is up, so you might not want to do that. Then we started going sideways, and we form pretty strong resistance right here, and you get a quick double test that's really like just a multiple test, like got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's the 6th test of that price level. So you might consider going short there. But look at the people who took the second entry short. They would have gotten trapped. But I mean, there's no trend line. You're not working off a trend line really, so you want something closer to the highs. But it sells off, comes back, tests this price level again. You get a double test. Visually, it looks like a second entry long. It's at the lows. There's some room back to the EMA. I think this is a good trade. That double test, second entry long. It's technically a third entry, but it looks like a second entry. So we get a higher low off that confirms this trend channel. But that's pretty hard to see in real time, so I just marked it green. And that forms a very strong move up. You see we get the convincing break right here. First entry, second entry. This, for the rest of the day on April 13th, these trades didn't look like they worked. But this closes above that trend line. It is a second entry long. It does look like two legs. This looks like first leg, second leg. So I think you can take that one to test the highs, and that's exactly what it does before it sells off and starts to go sideways. If you're feeling really aggressive, we have a break and a move to a new high, and then we get 3 consecutive lower highs. So this second entry short you might consider, but you're going straight into that EMA and the midline, so I don't think you really want to take that. We break out of this range. You get a measured move of the midline to the lows. We test that here, come back, test it again, test it again, test it a third or fourth time. So this is like it's really like a fourth entry, but it looks like a third entry, first, second, third. I marked this green, but with it being a multiple test, it's all right. I don't think this one can be blue. but then we see repeat patterns with it right here, and there's one later. Let's just take a quick look. I'll go through this price action, but see how it looks like a first, second, third entry. Here you get the first, second, third entry. Same thing, repeat pattern. So this one's blue because it's off that trend channel and it's a repeat pattern. This one, we don't know what's happening yet. So we break back into the range. I don't think you want to take this one. Higher low back into the range. Too close to that midline. So we're chopping around. You get a failure here, but we're in this range. I don't like that. All these dojis, you got to be super careful. We break out. The breakout fails, and yeah, we get this higher bounce off the trend channel. I didn't really think about this one because it's technically a second entry. So you might consider that. I'm not going to mark it, but when we get the double bottom right here, and it looks like a second entry off that trend channel, I think that's when you got to take it. And you actually get a failure right here. This one you might take. I don't know if I should mark that blue or green. This one actually looks pretty good, but if you're patient, you get a second entry long right after. And I mean, you could also argue for it to, you see that price level. These are also like double, triple tests. So those are some good entries. And then, yeah, look at this trap right here. But look, you're going into the highs. And I mean, I actually probably wouldn't have the channel looking like this. I'd probably have it something like that. I think the main problem is you're going into the highs, but look at all these dojis. You don't want that. You do not want to be taking, and the signal bar is a doji. There's not a lot of room to the highs, so I think that's the problem there. Also, you see, you probably wouldn't have had this range. You probably would have drawn it like that. This is tough. This is tough trading. But that's why you got to be doing it for years to make money. Same thing here. So you see here, fails. Here, very similar thing. First entry, second entry. Although this one's not off the EMA. So there's nothing really in here. And we just, strong move up. Can't really get in on that. And first entry, second entry, again, it fails. So, you know, it's overlap. So you got to be careful. Failed break lower here, then you get a higher low. Maybe you take that. There's room to the highs. That forms this range, and I don't see how you could get in on this for the rest of the day. It's a bunch of choppy stuff. So, and a lot of overlap over here. So that's how I saw yesterday, April 13th. And now I'm about to record the review for today, April 14th.